Hey everyone, it's Michael the Baptist. I hope you're doing well today. I really need a shave. I'm sorry, didn't do it before this video. Didn't have the time, to be honest. I have the time later on before work, but I wanted to make a video here. First and foremost, thank you guys for the views and the appreciation on the video yesterday. I'm glad that video of my top 5 Bible translations went really well for you guys. I'm glad you were entertained by the video and got some knowledge from it in case you were curious about a new translation you wanted to try out or whatever. I wanted to make a video showing off my Bible collection. I've got about, I think I counted 33 of these, which, weird number for today, right? That's not cool. I need to buy another one, right? Which won't be hard to do because I buy too many Bibles as it is. I got a lot of repeats. As many of you know, I had a phase once upon a time where I was a big King James only guy. And I have a ton of King James Bibles here. But I'm really going to start off, this is not really an order of like Bibles, you know. I kind of organize them, like I have the New King James together pretty much and the KJVs together and whatever. But I'm not going to show you like in order when I got these, how I got these, even though I probably could remember the order because I'm that nuts. But anyway, I do want to show you in the first few Bibles I show you, some of my earliest ones, the first ones I ever got, the first ones I started using when I got into the faith, because I think these are really important. And I've got like the smaller Bibles over here off to the side. Hopefully I remember to look that way and not forget them, so we'll see how that goes. First and foremost, back in the day, I only went to VBS a couple of times when I was very young, before my parents split up in 2004. And so this was the Bible that my mom, I believe, got me. And I took it to VBS, and I used to remember looking through it. And the weird thing with this book, like a lot of books, this one looks and smells just like it did when I first got it back in the day. It's super bizarre. That's why I love physical books. And that is this blue Holy Bible. And it's a King James version, matter of fact. As far as I can tell, it's not like edited down or anything. It's really nice. The font is a little small. A little small. But I remember always sitting in the VBS classes because I wasn't saved yet. And like I made a profession of faith and stuff, but I would sit in those classes and every once in a while my mom and I would go to church itself. And I would crack this thing open and it's like I just could not understand what I was reading. And it's not, I don't think it's just because it was the King James. I just don't. But this was always a really cool one, and it still smells so good, man. It has like pictures in here and stuff. I used to look at these pictures all the time. You know, this is technically not, but it is my first Bible. The one before this that I ever had was one of those baby Bibles, you know, the one with all the pictures that half the time they don't even actually explain the gospel stories or anything really thoroughly. Those are weird Bibles. I don't really know if I recommend getting those to your kids. Read the Bible to your kid or something. Not that those are complete harm. They can burn those stories into your kids' hearts, but still. This was my first Bible, and it was King James on top of that. How weird. Okay, so the next Bible I got, it was quite a few years later, probably 5 or 6 years later. I was in my like early teens. I want to say I was like 12 to 14, somewhere in there. I don't know if I was in high school yet. I'm pretty sure it was in my middle school days. I got a new King James from my grandparents that I lived with at the time. And they got this for me. And I remember, and I talked about this in my 5 Bible translations that I loved, that previous video, about how I tried many a time, especially this one morning. I remember it like it was yesterday. I got up, I tried to read the Bible before I got saved. And I couldn't understand this one either. I started in Genesis. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I was a reader growing up sometimes. I had phases, you know. And I had a time where I tried to crack this open, even though I was into novels and stuff. And I could not understand what I was reading. You have to have the Holy Spirit and also a brother to teach you. You have to. And I wish I had that back then. I wish I was engaged in church more. By that time, a little bit after that time, I had started going to church a little bit with my friend who was a Pentecostal. I was not a Pentecostal. I'm still a Baptist, as the name says. But it was different, you know? It was very different from what I'm used to seeing in the Baptist churches where they're very quiet. No slant on the Pentecostals. I love you guys. You're my brothers and sisters most of the time. But I really... This new King James is so nice in hindsight, and I think it was a cheaper release from the 90s or the late 2000s or whatever, but it's a really It's a cozy one. It feels real good in your hands. I like the paper on that one. It smells good too. I know that's weird, but if you're a person who loves books, physical books, you know what I'm talking about, man. So, 2013 rolls around. I get saved, and one of the Bibles that I had picked up from my grandfather's collection, he had a couple around the house, and I saw this one in his room one day, my grandparents' room, and I was looking at it, and it was weird. It had this squishy green cover. You probably know what I'm talking about if you collect Bibles, or you remember back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. This one was a paraphrase. I had never heard what that was, and I eventually liked it so much when I cracked it open to try it, and I could understand so much that right around the time, either right before I got saved or right after, I'm pretty sure I started reading his copy right before I got saved in 2013. I went out to Barnes & Noble and I managed to find a copy still in print, surprisingly enough. I'm surprised this is still in print, of the Living Bible. Mine does not have the squishy cover. I cannot stand Living Bibles having that squishy cover. I feel like it inflates the cost for no reason. But this is just a regular old hardcover. This is a paraphrase, not a translation. Many of you know that eventually this became the NLT as a real translation. But a man named Ken Taylor wrote this to try to help his kids. And it became a huge thing in the 70s as a Bible called the Way Bible, or the Way New Testament. It was something that really brought in hippies into being Christians. And it was so good for that. It's written more like a novel than an actual, the way the Bible is actually written in its manuscripts, any of the manuscript lines. And most of the time, even in hindsight, as I read this, and I've had more exposure growing in the faith, growing in the Lord, I still think there are moments of this that are so good that I would give this to a brand new Christian. I really, really love it. I think it has so many good things for younger folks in the faith when they're first starting out. But like nowadays, we have resources that I didn't know we had back in the day, and no one told me back in the day. Like the CSB, I think is really good for that. Or like the NLT. It's better than this, but not by much, you know? It's at least a translation, but it has its problems. But yeah, that's what I would do nowadays. But this is something that if you came across this and you wanted to get it for like a grandchild who may not be saved, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they're struggling in their faith. This is really good. I'd still get them a CSB first, but this is really good. And that revolutionized everything about my faith. I learned so much in a person who had not gone to church much with or without friends and family. I had not known the basics. And I joked about this in my testimony video from like a year ago. I didn't know that like Jesus' last name was not Christ. It was not that. That's a title. Just like we had Julius Caesar. Caesar was a title. I didn't know that. No one explained that to me. The Living Bible took out the time to explain that to me. So I learned a lot from that particular, I almost said translation. It's not a translation. But I started hearing online right after I got saved, immediately after, the King James only controversy. And then I asked my grandparents for a King James. They said, well, you have a new King James. I said, yeah, but I want a KJV. Mind you, that blue King James that I showed you a moment ago, my first real Bible, my mom had that in her room in the house, and I just didn't even remember it until a few years back. So my grandparents were at, I believe, Walmart, because I still see this copy sometimes at like Barnes & Noble and stuff. But they got me this KJV here. It's very pretty. I like it a lot. Very nice. But the font on this is so small, dude. And when I was a teenager, I could at least try cracking it open and reading. Nowadays, my eyesight, it's not bad, but it's getting to the point that I'm like, there's some small font that I can't read anymore. Like I need like a 10 or a 9. Well, probably a 10. Typically. But I like large print Bibles too, a lot of the time, like the newer MEV I showed yesterday in my top 5 video, in case you're interested. But this is a beautiful Bible. I will never ever let it go. God willing, it'll always stay nice and fresh on my collection shelf. But they got me this, and immediately I learned that as much as beauty was in the King James and in the New King James, I couldn't understand this because it was very complicated. I was not a stupid person. I love to read, like I said, but still. So, moving along from there, we'll just kind of go through the different collections I have of like New King James and KJVs. I guess I'll get the New King James and the NLT stack out of the way. Let me move some of these over real quick. So this I bought like 2 years ago or last year or something. This is a New King James. I love the color red on it. I got it from Walmart, of all places. Walmart's been doing these like ones with these very nice soft covers on it. This thing lays super flat. It's very, very nice. It was like 20 bucks, you know, and that's so good for a deal because Bibles are so freaking expensive now. It's ridiculous how expensive Bibles have become. The publishers really need to work on that, start limiting what they have in the Bibles. But this has reference notes and stuff. It's really nice, really smooth. I really like the font on the inside of this. Very nice, right at what I want. After that, I have one of the only study Bibles in my collection, because I don't even really consider this a study Bible per se. It's more of a themed Bible. And you can say that's a study Bible typically, but it's not like a MacArthur study Bible or anything like that, or a Schofield study Bible. It's nothing like that. I'm not that much into study Bibles. I have pretty much this, which doesn't count, and then I have one that I inherited from my wife's grandmother in the collection. I'll show you that later. But this is the Evidence Bible from Mr. Ray Comfort in Living Waters. It's a New King James, like I said. It's themed after apologetics, and there's a lot of great stuff in here. Not just with the evidence parts of trying to prove the faith to you, prove the history of God to you from the Bible and what it says versus alongside and versus science and what fake science says, like evolution, for example. Ray Comfort covers that stuff. He covers so many things with other religions and whatnot to give you an express of kind of what those religions believe, how to kind of stay on your toes in a debate or a discussion. But there's so much highlighting about like street evangelism like he does. And if you don't know who Ray Comfort and Living Waters are, dude, you need to go look them up. They will be a great blessing to you, I promise. I love Ray Comfort. I'd love to meet him one day. And I will one day, but I mean in this life it'd be cool to meet him. This is so neat and nice. It's pretty much most of the time black and white, but I think I could have sworn there were some photos in here that were in color. But you'll see like little doodles, and I'm pretty sure Ray himself drew sometimes. This is really, really nice. If you've not bought an Evidence Bible, dude, check it out. It's really sick. Especially if you're like me and you're into apologetics and debate and discussion. That thing will really strengthen you on some things. It'll really point out some parts of Scripture that I think you may not even know. I've made it through. I don't really read the Bible when I look at a Bible like that. I kind of just go through and look at the notes at different passages. I pretty much made my way through probably 70 or 80% of that Evidence Bible, just kind of looking at the notes, looking at different things that he brings up, how to compare them in the sections they're in. They're probably tying to a particular part of Scripture where they're laying at. So I like that a whole lot. I learned a lot there. Really cool stuff, man. God bless Ray Comfort and Living Waters, too. So this right here, I got a few years ago. I really liked it. It's a little too close to the gutter for me, but it's an NLT. When I say by the gutter, I mean like the spine of the book on the inside. I really liked the layout of this. I like the feel of it in my hands. But like I said, it's a very tight spine, and the words are so close to the gutter in the middle of the book. So you kind of have to, if you're like reading this in your car, and like in my case, I work late shifts, so sometimes you'll be out in the dark, sometimes, and you're trying to like, you have a car light, obviously. My wife's car light doesn't work anymore, so like if I'm driving her car instead, I'm kind of having to like do this, trying to get the light just right from the moon or from the street lights at my job. It's kind of tough, to be honest, but I really like the NLT. It's just not perfect. For me, anyway, my nitpicks and complaints about it. But it's really nice. It reads really nice. It's very cozy if you want more of like, it's a thought-for-thought translation, but it's very loose, like the NIV is. Probably looser than the NIV, to be honest with you. But I like it a lot. I think it's a very nice read, man. And I bought a newer copy that I think is really nice in format and everything. It's not too close to the gutter or anything. It's this nice brown one here, dude. I found this at Barnes & Noble. I'd wanted a nice NLT for a long time, and dude, they just did not make them. They didn't make them. I could never find one in person. Even when the Christian bookstores were still around here, we had a bunch of them here in my part of Virginia, and it just was not... They never had NLTs that were nice. They were always kind of, I don't want to say this is a cheapo, but it kind of is a cheapo compared to even something like this cheapo NKJV that I bought from Walmart I was talking about. But I found this nice NLT and I really liked it. No joke, last year I got on this big hook of rereading through scripture, and I read probably, I want to say like 40% of this based on that alone. Mainly with the Old Testament prophets towards like post Ezekiel. I know that's not 40% of the Bible, but I did that, and then I went through the Gospels and the New Testament. I read a lot of stuff through this. It's very good. Very, very good. All right, let's go through the KJVs here. I got some of the sleeves still on some of these that I need to get out of the way, so let me do that real quick. All right. So this one right here, I literally had a back injury back in 2018. I don't know if I talked about this in my testimony video. I should have, if I didn't. It was an hour long. How did I not talk about that? So in 2018, I had a back injury. It was very severe. God healed me completely from that. I've never had a problem since. But for a year, I couldn't work. I had to resign from my job position, and my poor grandfather, before I got married, had to take care of me all the time for that year. It was really bad, and God took me through it, blessed me severely, put me in a place where family could take care of me, like my grandfather, like my mom. My grandmother had passed away by that point, and my wife, before we got married, she was so faithful. It's one of the reasons I wanted to marry her, because I loved her so much. But when you have an issue like that, you just kind of sit around on Amazon and eBay and you order stuff that you don't really need. Well, this is a great example of something I don't really need. I bought this King James I've literally cracked open like 3 times, sadly. It would do better in someone else's hands than mine, but I love it. It's so beautiful, man. It's a KJV, and it's very, very big font, and it's supposed to look like it has a wood grain to it. Do you see that? The little details? This is from Christian Art Publishers. It's one of my favorite KJV publishers out there. This was like $10 when I bought it. And it's so nice, dude. Look at the inside of this thing. I just love this, man. It's so nice. And again, the font is big on this one, dude. It lays so well in your hands, man. It's got a great cover for it. I just love this, dude. If you haven't bought one of those, try to find one if you can. I don't even know if they make them anymore. Another one of the Bibles my mom got me as a present. I think it was I want to say an Easter present many years ago from a Christian bookstore, one of the first ones that started going out of business here. It's a daily chronological Bible. It's a King James. For anybody who doesn't know what this is, this was the one that introduced the concept to me, because I was an idiot, that the Bible is not in chronological order, especially with the Old Testament stuff. Things can be happening simultaneously and not even reference each other unless you're paying attention to the details. And yeah, this is like laminated paper almost. I mean, sometimes it feels like it to me. But yeah, it's the Bible completely in chronological order. Now, the thing is, I don't know, with how big this book is, I don't know if everything is in here. I swear my wife and I have looked at verses in here, looked at the beginning of the Bible in here. You don't take this one to church because you'll get lost trying to read it. My wife and I are not sure if they took out duplicate scenes, like parallel passages and stuff, or if they kept them. We've never been able to figure it out. I haven't done a deep dive on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. They took out parallel passages and whatever. And I think a lot of this could also rely on people's maybe theological bias. I could be wrong about that. I'm not accusing this company in particular, but I'm saying the concept of a chronological Bible, I feel like could possibly do that. You know, like, is there a chance they'll take like an Isaiah passage and put it all the way over into the New Testament as a prophecy thing? Chronologically, they should not. From what I understand, it's supposed to be what times they were written. And there's a lot of debate on that. Some of you guys have heard about like how Job should be one of the first books ever written, possibly. I don't really think that, but some people think that. That's been a debate. Ken Hovind brought this up years ago about some people arguing over that. So that's how I know about that. But this daily chronological Bible is kind of like a reading thing, you know, like where you're supposed to plan out your reading. It's kind of like that, to be honest with you. I don't love it, but it's cool for the collection. Does that make sense? As you can tell, I'm a physical media guy. I love movies and shows and books and comics and games and all kinds of stuff. So I collect stuff like this. This is part of my collection. So there we go. But it's a little strange. This KJV here is from Christian Art Publishers as well. This one is my Pew Bible that I pretty much take to church with me. It's a little bit taller, has a little bit bigger font, because my church is King James only. And I really like this particular KJV. It's very smooth how it's laid out. I'll show you some of that, I guess I could. Like, I'll show you the Psalms here. It's got a nice font, but this thing lays so flat, dude. It's one of the best hardcovers I think I've ever had for a Bible. It's very nice, but like I said, I take this one to church with me pretty much every time. I switched out a couple of times, you know, when we started going to this a year ago. But yeah, that hardcover lays really beautifully, man. This one right here might be the newest one. I don't know. I bought an ESV. I showed this yesterday in my top 5 translations video. There was a KJV or an ESV, excuse me, that I bought recently. But my pastor gave me this because we're trying to start up an evangelism course at our church and get some people trained up. This particular one, I've never heard of this before, and it's kind of neat as somebody who used to study theater back in the day. My pastor gave me this copy. It's a paperback of the Memorization Study Bible. I didn't know it was a study Bible till I just looked at it. This is essentially taking the verses and breaking them down to a certain amount of lines a certain amount of words per line to help you kind of do this, I think, in Shakespearean talk from old theater days. I think, if I remember correctly, it's part of the beats as in iambic pentameter, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I took theater, man. But if I remember correctly, that had to involve the beats within a line of poetry, but specifically with Shakespeare. And when you read the King James, it's written in that same kind of way, Shakespearean. And it's very nice for that. Like I said, I don't understand a lot of it, but I like the way it's written. I think its amount of beats per verse are nice. Anyway, this breaks those beats down to try to make it a lot more simple for you to memorize. Here's a great example. Over here, I'll put it up a little bit closer to you. Can you see that? Maybe. It tries to break them down just a little bit so that you can understand and memorize a lot easier, because I agree with the pastor on this. This is to try to get the scripture sunk into your soul a little bit more. And it helps a lot if you can remember either where verses of the Bible are that you're referencing, like the chapter in a book. That matters a whole lot. But if you can quote it, that helps a lot too. I am terrible with Bible memorization, dude. I'm not good with that at all. But this is just the New Testament, by the way. I just remembered, man, I needed to tell you that. It has some little notes here and there, but I don't really know if I should call this a study Bible or if they should call it a study Bible. I don't know about that. All right, many Christmases ago, my mom got me this really awesome Barnes & Noble, one of those leather-bound books, the big ones they used to put out back in the day for like Edgar Allan Poe and stuff. And I have one of those around here somewhere too. I think it's in a tote on the other side of the basement, because I don't really have a whole lot of my books out right now, aside from my Goosebumps stuff. Anyway, this is a KJV that they put out years ago, and it's beautiful, man. Look at this thing. So nice. I've always liked this, man. One of my favorite Christmas presents ever, dude. And I think, if I remember correctly, I thought it was a single column from what I remembered. But I even have a picture here. They have some black and white illustrations from the church back in the day, or church members back in the day. This stuff's really nice. I've tried to read through this. If you don't have it on a table, it's super heavy, dude. It's like a 15-pound Bible, I think. This is not light at all. But it's super nice, man. It is KJV, if I didn't say that already. It's beautiful. The paper is really thick here, man. Like, look at these photos, dude. How could you not take inspiration from these things, even in black and white? So nice, man. One of my favorites. Thank you, Mom. God bless you. I love you. All right, the next stack of King James Bibles. This one right here is a very simplistic KJV. It actually has some kind of lint and stuff. I don't know if it's from when I used to dust at the old house we lived at, we rented. But like, it has like white, it has a weird cover anyway, you know, with like weird, like clothy material. I don't really like that. This is the only Bible I saw on my honeymoon years ago with my wife back in 2020. Yeah, we got married in 2020. You can imagine how that went. That fall, we went to Tennessee for our anniversary, or honeymoon, excuse me. And I bought this at a local bookshop out there. And I wanted to get a Bible just to, you know, because we didn't do that for our wedding. Like, buy a Bible that would be our Bible together. And I wanted to do that, so I went ahead and grabbed this up. And it's very simple, but that's all it needs to be, you know? Really love this one. Very nice font and everything. But like I said, the clothy material on it, man. I'm not crazy about Bibles with cloth on them, especially those pew Bibles people buy nowadays. Can we get away from that? Can we stop putting cloth on Bibles? Why do we do that? I feel like it gets dirtier than a regular cheapo Bible like I buy, the pew Bibles and stuff. All right, here's a cool KJV that I really like. It's the only one I've ever owned with a thumb index as far as I can remember for my collection. I love thumb indexes, you know, on these. But these are one of those really cool ones back in the day when like the Christian bookstores were putting out like Holman Christian Standard Bibles and stuff that had, you know, these crown of thorn designs on them. And I really like those. But yeah, I love the silver lining on the pages. Silver lining. But the font's very nice. I like this a lot. It's a very, very cozy Bible. It lays really flat. This is super nice. I used to take this to church years ago at my old couple of churches, and I just never, I don't know. It's so floppy that it would just try to fall off on the floor off my lap all the time, unlike that big KJV I showed a little bit ago that I use now for church. But yeah, that one, I really like that KJV, man. I like how the spine has silver writing, too. It's very cool. You don't see that very often to me. To me, anyway. This one right here, I have two of these. I really like this. It's cool for the collection. I realized very quickly that I couldn't understand what I was reading. It's another KJV, like I said, but it's a 1611 facsimile. And like I said, I have two copies, one that I wrote in and one that I did not. And I'll take off the dust jacket here, too. It's kind of what it looks like without the dust jacket. Very old-timey, kind of like the hymnal books we still use in my church. And I love that about it. There's kind of like this old nostalgia that comes with that, because I grew up in churches when I went that had hymnal books. But a facsimile copy is really, really cool. Here's the Psalms, for example. But it has the original numbers for like the Psalms, stuff like in Roman numerals. It doesn't just do it like we do now, you know. It does Roman numerals. So I learned really quick when I tried to use this at church back in the day. If it wasn't the New Testament that we were reading, if it was like the Psalms or something, well, then I had to remember how Roman numerals went all the way up to like, what is it, 151 Psalms or 150 Psalms? And that became its own issue, because I realized very quickly that I know a lot of the Roman numerals, like up to like 50. 150? No. I'm not going to sit there and count out all those X's and I's, man. And V's, there's V's everywhere, and like when you get to like 40 or 50, there's like an L thrown in there and stuff. Nah, nope, not doing that. And you could say, well, you could go in with a pen and write on all these pages and you know, mark those Psalms with the correct number. You could do that with all the chapters. Yeah, you're not wrong, but like at the same time, trying to find it on the fly in a service, in a sermon, that's kind of difficult. One of the other things people realize too, this is the original 1611. So like, for example, the letter S looks like the letter F in here. If I remember correctly, Jerusalem is spelled Jerusalem? Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, just a lot of the letters were kind of switched out on what the letter was back then for 1611. That's how they wrote back then. So that became its own issue. Like, for example, right here, childless. That says childless. You see that? Yeah. I'm sorry about my jacked up fingernails, man. I'm a factory worker. Give me a break, man. But yeah, I have one that I wrote in and one that I didn't. But yeah, I like them as a nice little random study tool. Sometimes it's just nice to crack open the 1611, get a little bit of that church history in your blood, if you will. It's nice stuff. I talked about having a King James Study Bible for my wife's grandmother that passed, and this is it. We just found it one day in the house, this house, when we were cleaning it up. And yeah, it's a big old one. Like I said, I'm not a study Bible guy. I have no need for a study Bible. There are some that mildly interest me, like the Berean Study Bible, but like, dude, I have no need for things like study Bibles. I just want to get in there and read God's Word. And you can say, well, it's to help new believers, and that's fine too, but like, that almost always, just between me and you, and maybe I'll make a video on this one day, that almost always goes into people who just don't read it at all, or they only read the notes, or eventually they just become devotional-only Christians, which some people should say are probably worse than KJVO people. I used to be one, so I can say that. But the devotional only people, man, they like, they I don't know, they're a very particular type of people. And you can tell when you know, as soon as you meet somebody, you talk to them about the Bible, you bring up things that you read about recently, they look at you like they don't know what you're talking about. And they're usually devotional only Christians. And again, a little bit of scripture goes a long way, but the problem that I find is putting man's word with God's word in a study Bible. I get for newer Christians it can be a benefit. I get that technically sermons are spoken study Bibles. I get that. But it just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. I don't know. It's always rubbed me the wrong way. I don't like it and I don't need it, so I don't buy them. But maybe I'll glance through this sometime. I don't know. Just not thrilled about it, to be honest. I don't even know who did this one. Like, I don't know what the committee was or who the lead editor was or anything for this. Because like I said, I don't use it. Is there anything in here? It doesn't seem to advertise it anywhere. You know, again, like you'll have like a Schofield Study Bible or anything. It doesn't seem like it has that anywhere in here, to be honest with you. But anyway, I'm not going to waste your time on that. It's not a big deal. But what do you think about the study Bible thing? Do you feel the same way I feel, or what? Now, this is another example of a couple of Bibles that I love the way this one is filmed. I love the way this one is designed. I love the way it feels. This is just a black KJV, and this used to be the one I used to give out to people. There are some people who watch this channel that I've sent these to before. It's just a basic black KJV. I used to use this back when I still did videos for this channel a long time ago. I deleted those videos. But it has like the silver sprayed edges and stuff. No joke, dude. Look, this is how easy this thing opens up, man. I don't think this is in print anymore either. I wrote in both of these. Again, I have a second one here too. This is my favorite KJV. Hands down, no questions asked. It's not a premium or anything. I think I got mine at the Christian bookstores I mentioned for like maybe $20 or $25, which was not bad back then. It's still not bad now. If Bibles cost that much, I'd be buying them left and right. But now everybody wants like $40 for them. Get out of here with that crap. If you can find these, you should try to get them. It's from Henderson. Or, excuse me. Is it Hendrickson? Hendrickson, excuse me. I was getting the names mixed up. This is a beautiful Bible, though. The font and stuff are so great for these. I got one for each year that I was reading through the KJV, and I don't think I completed a reading through either of these, but like I would take notes, and I started doing something I had never done before, where I would start like writing in them and highlighting and stuff. I was never, ever, ever growing up in the mindset of doing that. Let me tell you, that changed how I read the Bible. That really helped me focus more when I was reading the King James. I learned a lot with the highlighting and stuff. The problem is you might write something down in there that like later on you're like, that's not right. So that's my only issue that I ran into. It's one of the reasons I kind of stopped writing in the Bible. Excuse me. But I got I don't know. I fell out of my KJVO stuff, but I loved these King James Bibles, man. They're so nice. I don't know how you'd find them. Just look up Hendrickson Black KJV. Maybe you can find it. But these are fantastic, man. They were so good. All right, now we're out of the KJVs for the most part. I have kind of one up next I'll show you. These are kind of just like standalone Bibles that I have, that I just have like one version of. This one up here, I found it in Ollie's, which was amazing. I got it for like $4 or $5, I think. It's a King James, well, it's a 21st century KJV. If you never heard of this, I wish this was still in print. I really like this. I just wish the font was a little bit bigger on this. And I wish it was 2-column, it's single column. This is essentially the KJV with some updated words to try to... It's kind of like the simplified KJV, which I don't own. I want to buy one of those. But it is basically the KJV text. They took like the these and ye's out, I think. Oh no, they kept them in there. I always get them mixed up. But like I said, here's Isaiah, for example. It's single column. I do not like single column Bibles. I have a couple in my collection, and I'm just not into that at all. I love the 2 columns. I feel like it wastes a lot less pages, you know, and it feels like the Bible to me. I really love the 21st century King James. It's not perfect, but it's pretty great for what it's doing. It's pretty good about correcting and changing things to update it enough but not too much. You know, some people think like the New King James is too much or the MEV is too much. If you feel that way, you should try to hunt one of these down. But dude, you're gonna pay a pretty penny for these. These are like $80 now because they've been out of print for so long. But I love the 21st Century KJV. I've been recommending that since I got one. Matter of fact, this new church that my wife and I went to, I took that the first visit I went, and my pastor and I had a great bonding conversation, not only about movies and Star Wars and stuff after the conversation, after the sermon, but we talked a lot about the 21st Century KJV and how good it was. It so deserves an audience, man. It's a shame they don't re-release this with like a 2-column and stuff. I feel like this would fare well if it came out now. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. Maybe I'm wrong about that. The MEV is apparently having issues. I thought they were doing well, apparently not. But I think the 21st Century KJV would do really, really good, man, if it came out now. So I got my NASB 95. I love this. Fantastic. One of the best Bibles I've ever used in my life. Formatting or just for study, period. This one here is also single column, and I gotta be honest, I'm in the minority here. Maybe if it was a double column one, I would like it more, but I don't know, man. The Legacy Standard Bible from John MacArthur's team at the Lockman Foundation. The LSB, as it's known, I don't love this. I don't know what it is. Everybody acts like it's as good as the NASB 95 that I just showed you. I firmly disagree. I think it's almost worded the exact same, but like at the same time, using, you know, Yahweh in the Bible most of the time, instead of God or Lord, I just don't know how I feel about that. Something about it rubs me the wrong way. I can't figure out what it is. Maybe the more that I read it, I'd get used to it. A lot of people said that to me before I bought one, but I just don't love it, man. And I hate single column. Like I said, it's just not for me. I see people like yesterday, I heard Wes Huff talk about how, and follow Wes Huff if you haven't before, he's great. I heard Wes Huff talking about how he feels like he reads more Bible if he has a single column, because it's like reading a novel or a regular nonfiction book or something. I don't feel that way. I feel like to me, it bothers me. I feel like the formatting is a waste. I feel like it's breaking tradition. And I don't mean to be like, we have to have double column Bibles. I'm not meaning it like that, but I feel like it's, like this is like, how many pages was in this thing? I think it was way up there, man. This is a 1,600 page Bible, and it's as big as this memorization study Bible that's just the New Testament, right? I'm not in love with this. I'm sorry, I don't feel the love for it. Maybe one day when I get a chance to actually really dig into this, maybe I'll like it more. I read Proverbs recently in this, and it was fine. It was good for what it was. I think I read Micah in here too. I really like the book of Micah, that smaller prophet there. And this was the one that brought the attention for me to Micah 3:11 about pastors, for example, only pastoring for money. And I thought that was a big deal. That was something I had never paid attention to, never heard a sermon on. It's a great example of what we're dealing nowadays, not just with people like Joel Osteen, but like people just in general in the church that claim to be pastors. And I don't know what my mouth just did a second ago. I'm not trying to act like that didn't happen. That was weird. It's not just like that, but I've had pastors themselves that have told people at my churches, I don't mean to go on a whole tangent here, but I had a pastor once upon a time, I asked, and he was a scumbag. He was such a fake and a fraud. I couldn't stand this dude. Not a pastor, probably not a brother either, because none of these guys like him or the people surrounding him could tell me what the gospel was. And I mean that. It's not to make like I'm better than them. I don't mean that. The point is they shouldn't be in pastorship if they don't know the gospel is by faith alone and Jesus alone. And they didn't know that. They didn't know that, man. It was always works plus, and that's not the gospel. So anyway, when I would talk with this particular guy, I asked, why do we not do Wednesday night services or Sunday night services? And he told me it's because he doesn't get paid enough. That happened. That's the kind of stuff that I've seen in the churches, man. You wonder why I couldn't find churches I liked where I lived? That's why. That's why people are not attending your churches anymore, folks. Correct that issue. Correct that heart issue in you. And maybe people will show up because you're actually being genuine from that point on. But at that, no. So anyway, the LSB, I wanted to love. And I love MacArthur. Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with him on a whole bunch of things. But that LSB has, I don't know. I'm glad there's other people like Tim Nichols that was kind of weird about it too, here on YouTube. Check him out if you haven't seen his channel before. I want to love it. I just can't, man. I'm sorry for rambling so much. Forgive me. I'm getting to that point of the video where it's probably been like 40 minutes now. And I'm getting nowhere fast. I showed this yesterday. I use this every day now. It's the 2024 update of the Modern English Version, the MEV. Probably one of the most beautiful Bibles in my collection. This is like a cherry brown if the camera's not picking it up that well. I love the color of this Bible. It has like a bronze page, spray edges, whatever. I love this. The MEV is a TR Bible. It's fantastic. If you've not used this before, get yourself one. Apparently their sales are not doing great right now. I got my copy from christianbookstore.com. I think it was Christian Bookstore or christianbooks.com. This is fantastic, and let me show you the font on this too, just in case you didn't see my top 5 Bible translations, because this was #1, baby. Look at this. Fantastic for the eyes, man. It lays so perfectly. Help the MEV do better. This deserves, because of the effort and passion and love put into this, you can tell it's so good, man. It's so close to being perfect, dude. One more update. If they had me on the team, I could perfect this thing, I'm telling you. Yeah. Check that one out. I showed earlier the Living Bible, and one of the ones that I also bought that was another Living Bible here is one that's designed to feel more like a traditional Bible. Look at this. This is apparently coming kind of hard to get your hands on at this point. I really like this. I've used it a couple of times, not as much as my green, I almost said LSB. It's never occurred to you that if you say LSB a little too fast, you might slip up and say that you're on an LSD, or that you're using LSD as a Bible translation. That could be weird. I feel like the world would look at us like we're all nuts. The Living Bible here, this one doesn't have red lettering, but it's really nice, man. It was a nice, like, special quality one. I don't remember if I bought this online. I think I did. But I also used to see one all the time at the local Christian bookstores, and I used to stare it down, dude, because I really liked how it looked and felt like a real Bible, even though it's a paraphrase, like I said. But that was pretty cool. I like that one. I just wanted it for the collection. I'll probably never use it again because I don't use the Living Bible anymore. I talked about this earlier. I don't know if this is the newest Bible technically in my collection, but it's one that I've been using as I've been reading through like Leviticus and stuff. I've just finished Leviticus. I'm in Numbers. Pretty close, getting close to halfway through into that. Probably today by the time I finish my study time. But the ESV here. This just showed up at Walmart. I've been wanting an ESV for years. I was super excited about this. I have a small personal size over here, I'll show you. But it's so small. I think my father-in-law gave me that particular ESV. But the font was so small that like I wanted a real ESV, and this just showed up at Walmart. I'd been wanting one really bad. I'm glad Walmart's selling a lot more Bibles now. They have a lot of variation. They have KJV, NKJV, NIV, this. This is really well made, just so you know. I love it. I love the color of it. I wish it had red lettering. It's one of those kind of value ESVs that don't have that, which I think is whatever. You know, I can do with or without the red lettering. It's not a big deal. But I like it, you know. This is really comfortable. And it was also going on clearance, so it was like 13 bucks the other day. So I guess they're not going to carry that one for long. Now, this one right here, I really, really like the translation. It's a thought for thought. But it's one of the only copies of this I have. I think I have a small personal size of this too. But it's the Christian Standard Bible. This is a value gift Bible before I realized that these things are terrible. These things, they pretty much never have a sewn spine. They pretty much always have like a glued spine. And they fall apart so easy, man. Here, let me try to show you some pages here. Here's some look at Luke. The font is super small in this. A lot of value Bibles typically are. This thing was still like 20 bucks when I bought it, even though it's a value gift Bible. It has the gold edge and stuff, and it's like the only one I liked. I like that the CSB, compared to all the other translations out there right now at Christian bookstores or anything, it's one of the only ones that has multiple colors and designs and different things like that. That's really nice when you go into a Barnes & Noble and you see these sometimes, but they're getting less and less common. They're getting more to the point where you have to buy them online. With this kind of formatting and the way the spine is laid out there, this would be a really good translation to have like a bright yellow cover or like a bright orange cover or something with black sprayed edges. They should do something like that. I feel like your sales would jump high if you did that. Just trust me. Just telling you as somebody who loves Bibles and who collects them and doesn't use the majority of them that he has on his shelf, I just kind of stick to a couple and go there, then jump around here and there. But this CSB, I made the mistake of leaving it in my car one day during my work day last summer, and it remelted the glue. And now some of the pages try to come out. So like if I have it closed, you'll see like some of these like lines of pages trying to stick out of there. This one, I love the translation of CSB. Again, it's not perfect, but this Bible is a little falling apart at this point. So I kind of take this to work with me because I needed a newer English translation instead of my KJV that I'll show you in a moment that's all racked up from the heat out in the car. Because Virginia summers, dude, they will bake the inside of your car. You have no idea. All right. Personal size Bibles. When I first got saved, there was a family my mom and my grandparents and I were friends with. If you folks happen to be watching this, I love you guys. God bless you. They kind of got me like a little gift. I don't know if it was for graduation or for when I got saved, but that was literally within a week of each other. So I think this was a graduation present. And they got me this small New Testament NLT New Believers Bible. And I think, again, it was within a week of me getting saved and, probably a month or so before I got graduated, I got saved. And then like a week or so after I graduated, I got baptized. So anyway, this is just a really small New Testament. Very nice. I've used it quite a bit back in the day. I really like this. Again, the NLT is not the worst thing ever for a new believer. It's pretty good. And my church back then, they actually, for my graduation, but also like getting saved present that they gave to us, to me in this case, was a Holman Christian Standard Bible. This is before the CSB came out. It is basically the CSB before the CSB from the same Holman company. The CSB used to be called the HCSB. And I really like the Holman. I wish that I had bought one before the Christian bookstores went out of business here, because, dude, the HCSB has gotten insane on the pricing. You can't find them anywhere. People grab them up all the time. I would have loved to have had a value gift copy even, and even those are not cheap. They can run up to like $80 now. I don't know why. They were so much more common than like the 21st century King James and stuff. Why are the Holman Christian Standard Bibles so expensive? I don't understand what happened and what the value and difference could be between this and the CSB. It's super bizarre. But anyway, this little personal size, if you can find a personal size and you prefer that for Bible reading and stuff, this is fantastic. This is well put together. It holds together super well. I really like this HCSB copy. But yeah, they should have kept that in print. Seriously. And again, I love the CSB. It's a great update. I think I like it better than the HCSB, but I've seen a lot of people coming around saying the HCSB is their favorite, which is kind of wild, to be honest. Okay, so I talked about one of my Bibles that I leave out in the car all the time, just to have one. You never know when you'll need one. And this thing has been destroyed, and I'm kind of sad that I put this one in my car, because now I'm older, and I realize the kind of quality Bible this was, and now I'm sad that it's destroyed by the heat from Virginia and the sun. This is a KJV, personal size. This is the full Bible. The full Bible right here, and as you can see, the sun warped the cover and stuff. The weirdest thing, my wife kind of puts hers in like the door. You know those little areas where you put napkins and stuff in your car, on your car door for the driver's side or the passenger side? She has a KJV that she uses for church. It's a personal size. It's more in the size and style of that HCSB I just showed you, but hers is purple and silver. And she keeps hers in that little door area instead of napkins, and it doesn't warp. And I don't understand why. Is it just a sun facing this thing? What happened to this? I don't understand, but the spine has completely fallen apart, man. You see this, like where it's dividing here and everything? It could probably be rebound and survive, but I ain't paying those rebinding prices. That's crazy, man. I used this so much back in the day alongside those black KJVs I showed you that I started writing in. I used to write in this too. I learned a lot. I used to carry this around at Big Lots when I worked back in the day in my back pocket. And I would constantly get into conversations with customers and my bosses and stuff about the Bible and about God. just by having this big old thing sticking out of my back pocket. God will use physical Bibles, dude. Don't underestimate having a physical Bible out in public, by the way. You know, I know a lot of us, we prefer digital copies because you can control the font to anything you want it to be. It's usually free, pretty much. I understand we all say that. Do not underestimate having a physical copy in your car or in your hands in a public place or whatever. You'd be shocked the amount of people that God will stir their heart, making them think, if they're a Christian, they may say, you know, I need to read my Bible more. I haven't done that in a while. I should crack that open. Or on the other hand, an atheist may come to you and say, why are you reading that? You know, are you trying to preach to me? I know you're sitting quietly reading, but are you trying to preach at me? I'm offended. You know, that can happen too. But it'd be fun. It'd be good for you. It'd be a good way to get your faith out there and get Jesus to some people in some way, one way or another. But anyway, this thing is falling apart. I'm really sad about it because it was a beautiful quality Bible. I got it on a cheap sale back in the day. And it's done well for me. Good and faithful servant right here. All right, I got another KJV here, about the same size, but this is styled just after that other bigger KJV. It's like it's Wee Man, or like what is that movie? Austin Powers. What is he called? Mini-Me. It's Mini-Me. This is the Mini-Me copy of that KJV I showed you that had the thumb index that I love. This one doesn't have a thumb index, but I feel like that'd be harder to do with this. This is pretty much what you would call the large print of these personal copies compared to like my HCSB and stuff. But this is really nice. I use it sometimes around the house. I really, really like this. And I talked about an ESV that my father-in-law gave me, and this is it. It doesn't have like a bookmark or anything, but again, the font on this is so small. It's a beautiful Bible, but I just don't use personal-sized Bibles, man. I can't read all that. I'm only 31, but that's small, man. My eyes are jacked up from years of reading and sitting in the dark playing video games and stuff as a teenager. I can't read that. But he gave it to me because I wanted an ESV for the collection. I didn't know he was going to throw that at me. I love you, Steve, if you happen to be watching this. And then I got another CSB here that I really like. I bought this too to use like at work and stuff. I think this is the last Bible I bought from the Christian bookstore before it went out of business. The last one we had here. And it's still kind of too small for me to just take this to work with me and keep in my pocket to read on the fly when I get a chance. But yeah, I really like this style. I wish there were more CSB Bibles that were formatted with like this feel of a texture for the cover and like the way this is laid out and stuff. Very nice for what it was. I think I got it for like $5 or $10 when I bought it. But that's when I was trying to consolidate the collection down to smaller Bibles, and then I realized stuff that I really wanted, like the 21st century King James, which took me years to find. That's when I realized that like I wasn't going to use these personal size as much as I wanted to, but you never know. You could take it out on the field. If you go to the fair or something, you could take that with you and be able to use it to preach to somebody, or maybe I could give this away to somebody who needs it. You never know. But anyway, that is my Bible collection. I'd love to see what your favorite was from the whole collection here. What do you prefer? Was there a particular one you'd like the ISBN number for that I could give to you? If you're really hunting it down, like those black KJVs I told you about. Let me know all that down below. If anybody out there would like to make like a response video with your own Bible collection, do that. I would love to see your Bibles. I love looking at Bible collection videos. Do you collect everything, even down to like complete heretical books like the Book of Mormon and like the Jehovah's Witness Watchtower culty crap? Do you keep all those things too? I don't, but I wouldn't be opposed to having them for the collection just to say I have one. Maybe look through it every once in a while just to beat them down with the gospel, right? But do you collect those things? What's your favorite Bible translation? Let me know all that down below. Do you use study Bibles? Do you not? I'd love to hear everything you guys have to say down below. So I'm sorry for the long rambly video. Didn't mean to make it so much about me, but here we are. I hope you had a good time. God bless you guys. Catch you later. How many Bibles do you have in your personal collection? Let me know all that too. Thank you guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.